as a father and husband, you really broke my heart, and I hope you're ready to foot everyone's Kleenex bills.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's been a it's been a wonderful experience showing it to the first sort of audiences and hearing that a lot. So sorry.
No. Like, as much as the tears flow, there's such a beautiful destination on the other side of this, and I'm often asked when there's a movie that really moves me, like I just feel really compelled to talk about it. I want to share that experience with everybody. I want to watch them watch it, and usually I'll get this question, which is it sad? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, then I'm going to sit this out. And that's so hard to hear because I naturally gravitate towards these kinds of films. And I love the perspective it gives me. I love how it causes me to hug my loved ones, hug my child. Like, it's immediately following this, I'm on a business trip and I just wanted to run home to go be with my son and my wife. And it also like breaks you away from your everyday routine because you can become so numb to everything that's going on. And this is like one of those like stop and smell the roses kind of films. And so I hope you don't mind kind of flattering your own movie, but so if someone were to ask you that question, how would you convince them without spoilers that the rewards are so great?
Well, first of all, just yeah, thank you so much. It really like God, to go through all this to make it and to hear responses like that is like just a dream. So thank you so much. Like I said, it's just blowing me away getting this response from people. Like, so first of all, thank you. I'm the same. I love watching, movies like this that will bring me into those kind of places where I do sort of sometimes have a cathartic cry or something in them.
Yeah.
What I would say is that I think that it goes back to why I really wanted to make the movie in a sense, right? But there's a lot of, again, no spoilers, but there is a lot of hope I feel in the movie. And I think it really does try, and I hope it shines a light on the beauty, the fleeting beauty in life, and the frailty of our time here, but how gorgeous it can be and how just full and everything like that. And that's part of the sadness in it too. So there's that beautiful, I hope, dichotomy there.
Mm-hmm.
Bittersweet is a word, that I've heard being used a bit, and that rings true. So I would say that I think I love a movie that can bring me to those places where I feel really emotionally hit by it, but also hopefully has that hope in it, and so I'm hoping that is part of, again, it's hard to speak about some of these things without going into spoiler territory, but I hope that that's there and people find that and find meaning in it. And like you say, the wanting to go and hug your loved ones thing is yeah, it's something I've gone through during the making of this a lot. So it's good to hear it's passing through.
Yeah, I think so. Also, I have to give you one of these for not allowing the sci-fi aspect to cloud over the very human story at the center. How did you avoid that temptation to not be sucked into that vacuum? Because by nature, we're all kids in the candy store, and the impulse can be difficult.
Completely, yeah. That's a great thing to pick up on, because it was, although there's a sci-fi premise at the center of this, actually it's all about the human story, and the sci-fi elements are just a vehicle to tell this really human and actually really personal story, to me, that comes from experiencing my own loss and walking around the world being constantly scared that someone else I love could pass away, and constantly thinking, oh, what would happen to my loved ones if something happens to me, right? And then this imagined story comes up that's set slightly in the future, but it was always about the human side of it. So I think like my team got probably quite sick of me saying too sci-fi, too sci-fi, too sci-fi, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
because every decision and all the aesthetics were really chosen in a way in which we would believe enough in the world that this type of technology could exist, but it never went into a place where we didn't recognize this world, right? Where it looked like the inside of a spaceship, right? Or there was a bunch of screens everywhere and all this stuff. I really wanted to try and keep it grounded. And yeah, there's a self-driving taxi, but it's one step on. It's not three step on. It's not flying through the city or anything, right? And
Sure.
just trying to really keep all of the technology decisions one click on from where we are now felt like the right choice. And I had the wonderful Annie Bouchamp, our production designer, who was just an amazing teammate and just was so great at really taking all of those parts of the vision and just completely adding to it and building on it and making some, what I think she did is really fantastic. So
yeah, I think so too. Now, I love the contemplative nature of this film. It reminded me of a few cinematic experiences that have meant a lot to me. One of them being Vanilla Sky. I think you even use a variation of Radiohead's "Everything's in Its Right Place."
yeah.
Am I on a conscious hat tip there, or is that just
Unconscious? Actually, I love
you know?
I mean, and Abre Los Ojos, the original as well. Yeah, wow, I got to go back and check that out again. But yeah, that was unconscious.
Yeah. It's like let me think of how I'm going to articulate this, but I feel like both your film and Vanilla Sky and Abre Los Ojos explore this emotional gray space within ourselves. It's like we are so overwhelmed by what's going on that we just kind of drift, and our world doesn't feel so tangible anymore. And like Mahershala Ali's character Cameron is trying to make sense of a fractured reality that he has for himself right now. Does that reality of this film cause you to evaluate your own reality in a different manner? Did it inform anything about your reality?
Yeah, 100%. I think like this, the process of making this film and how cathartic it was for me as someone who went through things like losing people close to me with no goodbyes and never dealt with it, like never saw anybody about it or anything like that. Making this film felt very cathartic to me. And like, you know, seeing Mahershala do what he did in the movie and just that hit me in a way that was just really hard to explain. Like watching him, you know, on set doing that. There was one day I actually broke down as we were rehearsing, you know, like with him and Glenn and Adam Beach, the wonderful Adam Beach. And because I just, even though it was rehearsal and he was kind of a half pace, just the way he was delivering those lines that really had a lot of personal origin sort of for me just hit me and I just lost it, you know. And so yeah, along the way I feel like I've really it's changed me, you know, in good ways, I think. The thing that, and I've, you know, Mahershala has spoken about this before and we've had some great conversations about it, but one of the things that it's taught us, I think, or that we've thought about a lot is like just presence, like being present, you know, like being here now and actually giving your family that hug, right? Or whatever, like not doing the work until 2 a.m. and, you know, all that stuff yeah, that's what this is, right? That's what's important at the end of the day. So anyway, long-winded way of saying it's totally changed me, and really, hopefully, I hope some of that is you know, felt as well by people who are watching it. And yeah.
I know we're almost out of time, so I wanted to end with talking about something that I feel like you do really well through this film, which is how memory works. It can hit, like memory hits in this very unsorted, unchronological fashion, but yet as you explore that through Cameron, you have to notice the thematic dots and how to stitch them all together. A lot of the memories can just flash by within seconds, and I just want to kind of pause the film to be like, oh man, they probably dedicated a lot of time for just that one frame, and there's such a story within that. So I'm curious about mapping all that out and kind of steering them to make sure that these individual frames still have like a cohesiveness.
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. And part of it was, you know, the present day has a look, right, where that's more considered and a little slower push-ins, we're locked off a bit more symmetrical, it's more considered frames. The memories were like Massa, our incredible DP, was right there handheld. That's one of the only places we use handheld in the movie. He was right there. You know, the subjectivity of memories meant that I really wanted them to be sort of dancing with the actors. And that's where we did a lot of improv. I love to do improv, and our actors were amazing, sometimes doing like super long takes and just seeing where we went. We worked a lot on building the character backstory so that they were free to to know those, and I could come in with a scenario and they play off each other. But you're right, like there's so much stuff that was left on the cutting room floor that we knew it was going to be snippets, right? We called them the memory snippets, like, hey, we're going to shoot, we'll do a 10-minute take, but this could be like 3 seconds. So, you know, it was incredible that our actors just had the skill and the stamina and the dedication to do that. And I think what it hopefully feels like is like you say, sort of that fractured memory thing that can happen. I just hope it feels like the tip of the iceberg a lot of the time, and there's way more underneath it, because I think that helps build the authenticity of a full life without having to show it all, right? And so, yeah, it's wonderful hearing you connect with that and how you phrase that, because that was really the intention. So yeah, I'm super pleased that it's landing for you.
Well, I have so much more I would love to ask you, but I really do appreciate your time so much. And this movie meant a lot to me. And thank you for using Frank Ocean.
Yeah.
It
Thank you so much. They were the best questions, and yeah, I just really appreciate it. So
yeah,
thank you. All right, great to meet you.
Day.
Cheers, Preston. All right, thanks a lot.